All right, our next guest is a real firecracker, and you may recall him. He's been on this show a couple of times. Last time was when the city of Montreal, they were really cracking down on noise. And he's like, sorry, got a venue, and we make noise, and we've always made noise. And by the way, we've bent over backwards not to make noise as well. Anyways, he's back. Sergio da Silva is the co-owner of Turbo Haus. Hi, Sergio. Welcome back.
Hi, nice to be here.
Refresh our listeners here about tell me about Turbo Haus, where it is. Paint the picture for our listeners who are not familiar with you.
Okay, so Turbo Haus is a small bar venue that's in the Quartier du Spectacle. It's on the corner, basically, of Saint Denis and Ontario. Yeah. We've been there about 5 years. We've been doing pretty well up until that pandemic thing.
Yeah.
And that caused a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
And then we've kind of been slowly getting out of that, and it's been getting better. But now there's always just like some new hurdle.
Now, Montreal, we love our festivals. We're famous for our festivals. It's part of what makes everything go. We got Nuit Blanche that kicks off the spring. So there's all this stuff that happens. Now, tell me what's happened here to your business that you are upset about.
Well, Nuit Blanche is actually one of our busiest weekends of the year. It basically calls the end of the winter season, where bars are typically slow, and gives you a push into the spring and summer. So we were looking forward to it. And last year, the Quartier du Spectacle and APIC, which is the name of the snowboarding, I guess, festival, had put this installation on Saint Denis, because Saint Denis is on a hill where we are. And last year went great. It was a lot of fun, a lot of families, everybody had a good time. This year, in order to make a little bit more money, they decided to put a beer garden on the street. And they had put the beer garden directly in front of my bar. And it's not just like kind of on the side, it's just like my bar is here, and directly in front of it is a bar.
So the city is basically letting someone put up competition 10 feet away from your door.
10 feet. 3 feet.
3 feet.
Like, it's just on the other side of the sidewalk. You can't see anything.
Okay. Yeah.
And like, these events are supposed to bring people to the neighborhood, to showcase the businesses on the street, get people there, get people excited about coming back to Saint Denis. Yeah. And I find it very strange that they would allow direct competition to these businesses to be allowed to sell.
But here's what's not lost on me. You've been vocal. When the last time you were on this show to talk about the noise complaints and how ridiculous it was, and the threats of fines, and how everything you've done, you were vocal online, right? Like Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever it is, you were posting, and you were kind of attacking the mayor and the administration, right, in the process. So here's where my mind goes. Do you think it's payback?
I wish it was payback. In a perfect world, it would be payback. But I don't think they thought enough about me or what they were doing to actually have me in consideration. To actually be like, oh, there's a bar here. We're not going to put this bar in front of it. Like that. I never crossed their mind.
Okay, so that's an interesting point. I get that too. You wish they were thinking about you, or they had the foresight to think about payback. In actuality, they're just not thinking at all.
That's it.
Have you gone to the city with your complaints? Have you said, hey, what's the deal here?
I spoke with the SDC directly, and I spoke with the person on the ground for APIC at the time. I haven't spoke to anybody from Tribu, which is the company that also puts on this event. But ultimately, like, what I'd like to get across is that I think these things are good. Doing these things on the street is good. And I understand the Herculean effort that goes into putting a snowboard ramp on Saint Denis in the city, having to get all that snow, all these sort of like things that they have to think about. I understand that. I appreciate that. And I think what they did in general is probably a good thing to do. But a bit of communication with the businesses that are in place, a little bit of cooperation goes a long way in creating sort of like this harmonious situation where everybody benefits, and not just a large company like White Claw or Fireball or Red Bull. Like, we could have been working together. I bet a lot of the businesses on the street would have loved to have their own kiosks during this event.
That's right. A little offshoot of your business as part of the outdoor stuff.
Of course,
right?
Like they do on Saint Laurent when you have like Mural Fest and all this stuff. It's such a fun environment when everybody's sort of out and everybody kind of like, it's a win-win.
And you're giving businesses a reason to rent on Saint Denis right? If you make them part of that.
Of course.
With Sergio de Silva, he's a co-owner of Turbo Haus, a wonderful bar, club on Saint Denis. So, Sergio, let's just get back to the old fights. Has there been an update on the noise and the noise complaints? And has there been a solution, settlement found on that end?
Absolutely. What actually happened was the inspector who had originally received the complaint had the sort of the gumption and he cared enough about the situation to come see me directly. He visited me at the bar. He took a look at our situation, and then he went above and beyond and basically called the person who made the complaint and said, "This is Sergio de Silva. He works and lives at the building next to you. The next time you have a complaint, this is his number. Please contact him directly. If you guys can't find a solution, then contact me again."
So we have a kind of a solution.
Yeah, but
bureaucracy at work almost.
Of course, but it took somebody who cared enough about the situation to do something about it. I don't think he was mandated by anybody. He just saw the situation. He's like, "This is kind of strange. I'd like to take a look by myself." And so, kudos to him. He actually helped quite a bit.
And something that's generally needed in those posts, right? For someone to be thinking like that.
Exactly.
Let me just ask you on the Nuit Blanche and them putting up a bar in front of you. Could you see receipts 2022, 2023, 2024? Could you take a look at that Nuit Blanche and see a direct impact in your cash register?
That's the first thing I did. I think throughout the weekend we made $3,500 less than we did last year, which is basically a half decent Saturday for us, less. Yeah. And coming out of, like I mentioned, January and February, typically being the slower months, like that $3,500 goes a long way. As a matter of fact, that $3,500 covers my SDC dues for the year. Oh,
wow.
So now I'm out those dues. They're still going to want their money. And once again, I understand that this is a difficult situation for everybody. There's no right way to do it, but there's definitely a better way to do it.
Gotcha. Listen, one thing, you're vocal, you use social media. Certainly seems like you get results on this front. Do you think, are they listening? Like your concerns, have they listened and said, "Okay, you got a point here, Sergio, we're going to do better next year"?
I would absolutely hope so, because it's not just me. There were lots of businesses on the street were also very disturbed by it. I have a cafe that's just a block up that was impacted by it. There's Café Gitane, which is like a hookah bar, that was also affected by it. The entire street, these places have been there a very long time and are basically white knuckling it going into the summer. And, a little bit of help, a little bit of foresight, a little bit of communication goes a long way to make these things go. And they'll come back and they'll say, "Well, we sent an info letter, we sent all these things." But it's one thing to send me something in my email that says, "We are doing this," and there's not really a lot you can do about it. And coming to visit me and taking the 5 minutes to be like, "This is what's going on. How can we make this work?
Here's what we're considering. How does it work for you?" And that's kind of stuff.
But I got a 5-minute conversation on the day that the bar went up. Had I had that conversation, that same 5-minute conversation, 3-4 weeks prior, we could have avoided this whole situation.
Let me just spring some of that on you. And you came into the studio, so I don't know if you've heard this story, because it maybe happened while you're in transit. News out this morning, just for laughs, just per ear, filing for creditor protection. There will not be a festival, at least how we're used to it, this year. And with that in mind, Nuit Blanche, all the festivals that are so important if you're in the Quartier des Spectacles, right?
Of course.
Do you have any input or do you have any thoughts on how the festivals in this city are doing? Because you must know firsthand experience what you see on that street. So I don't know if you've got a reaction to the news from Just for Laughs, and if you've got any insight as to how festivals in general are doing in this city.
Well, first thing, I'm very sad for a lot of my friends who worked for Just for Laughs, who now are probably going to be losing their jobs in a time that having money or getting money, getting work is very difficult, especially in these media jobs. So my heart goes out to them. That's awful. In terms of how this all goes, it just seems like everything is kind of being pilfered for every last red cent. You know what I mean? There's this idea of community and building things together, building things with the commerces, the people who participate. I mean, it all just comes down to nobody has the time, the energy, or the money to make these things work. Yeah. If you have, back in 2010s, the mystical days of Montreal in the 2010s, where you can pay your rent with a nickel and a jig. Like those
Yeah.
don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And that makes things harder for people who are producing art, producing these festivals, making these things happen. Like being in an affordable city was one of Montreal's main attractions. It's why the indie scene of the 2010s blew
Developed,
up.
yeah,
Because you
yeah.
had all these people coming here with talent, with ideas, with energy.
Mm-hmm.
And now at the same time, it all comes down to sort of like the cost of living and how difficult it is to make ends meet. And it's only going to be made more difficult now that all these people have been laid off and these situations keep happening. And, you know, people will be like, oh, nobody comes downtown anymore. I see people downtown all the time.
Yeah.
They're having a good time.
It's very true. It's just like, it's that Yogi Berra line. Nobody goes there anymore. It's too crowded. It's too busy, right? Sergio, we do have to leave it there. Always appreciate your insight and you being so open and forthcoming when you talk about your business and other items in the city. Thanks so much.
Glad to be here. Thank you very
Sergio
much.
De Silva, Turbo House co-owner.